Here's Mr. Bradford for one big cap.
Good morning, Doc. Classes.
Let's like go out.
Events, community events.
Yeah.
Weekend.
Good thing some try to.
All right, we're about to get it started. All right, good morning, everyone. Before we begin, I want to make an announcement that the restrooms are right to our right, right behind the Taco Limon sign. Today is Friday, September 23rd, 2022, and the time is 9:06 a.m. The AB3121 Task Force meeting is now called to order. Good morning, everyone. My name is Camila Moore, and I'm the chairperson of the task force. Before we begin, let's go to Parliamentarian Johnson to do a roll call vote for attendance and establish whether we have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will begin with Chair Moore,
Present.
Vice Chair Brown,
Present.
Member Bradford,
Here.
Member Grills,
Grill.
present. Member Jones Sawyer,
Present.
Member Holder, Member Lewis,
Present.
Member Montgomery Stepp, and Member Tamaki.
Here.
Madam Chair, there are 9 task force members, and the number needed for a quorum is 5. The number present is 9. Madam Chair, a quorum has been established.
Thank you, Parliamentarian Johnson. Members of the task force and members of the public, welcome to the California Reparations Taskforce 10th hearing and second in-person hearing in Los Angeles, California. From a review of the agenda, you can see that it is a full agenda. So to ensure that we complete it during the time allocated, we will need to make sure that the following timeline is established. So the next agenda item on our agenda is number 2, public comment, from 9:05 to 10:05. It's 9:07, so public comment will be from 9:07 to 10:07. 30 minutes will be reserved for in-person public comment, and the last 30 minutes will be reserved for virtual public comment. And Ms. Aisha Martin-Walton will be assisting us in this effort.
Good morning, task force members and the public. Welcome to public comment. As Chair Moore has indicated, there's an hour for public comment. 30 minutes will be for in-person and 30 minutes for callers on the phone. We'll start with the in-person. And just so you know that each person will have 3 minutes to speak, please be advised that in fairness to everyone, at the 3-minute mark, you may be politely interrupted. And for those who are in person, I also have cards that have the time. At the end of the public comment period, please take your seat and we will continue. And also know that if you don't have an opportunity to make comments today, we will have public comments again tomorrow morning, and or at any time you can submit your written comments to Reparations Taskforce at doj.ca.gov. So why don't we go ahead and begin? First speaker, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am Friday Jones. My name is Consa Jones Muhammad. I am the president of the National Assembly of American Slavery Descendants. We will be hosting our inaugural Reparations Summit next weekend in Atlanta at the National Center for Civil and Human Rights, and tickets are still available at Eventbrite. I am also the co-chair of the Los Angeles chapter, which is a member of the Coalition for a Just and Equitable California. I am the vice president of Los Angeles's Blue Ribbon Reparations Advisory Commission, as appointed by Mayor Garcetti, and today I'm here speaking as an individual. Reginald Jones Sawyer introduced California AB 2296 Task Force to study and develop reparations proposals for African Americans to the Assembly on February 16, 2022. This commission held public hearings on February 23rd, 24th, March 29th, and 30th, April 13th, and 14th. At no point during these sessions was AB 2296 placed on the agenda before this body or the public at large. The National African American Reparations Commission, of which Dr. Cheryl Grills was appointed in January 2022, issued a letter asking Governor Gavin Newsom to sign AB 2296. And the most striking part of their letter for me was, and I quote, AB 2296 ensures public oversight of the California Reparations Task Force by striking lifetime appointments of the chair and vice chair and allowing for elections of offices and subcommittees. The letter goes on to say there is little public oversight to protect the task force from issues concerning internal governance, appointments, and structures. I think that's what the Bagley-Keene Act was for. Section 2 of AB 2296 amends Section 8301.2E of the code to now read, an appointee may be removed at the pleasure of their appointing authority. This dramatically changes AB 3121's language, and I believe that NARC in the letter to Governor Gavin Newsom identifies the intended targets of this change as Chair Moore and Vice Chair Brown. I do not mince my words. Your actions are unethical. This is your final term as Assembly member for Council District 59 in Los Angeles. The membership of NAASD Los Angeles is here in Los Angeles. And I will utilize every ounce of my influence to ensure that the descendant community with ties to the South that have our ancestors buried in segregated graveyards to have lineage repair in the state of California. Judas betrayed Jesus for 30 shekels of silver with a kiss. I urge this body to ask Gavin Newsom to veto AB 2296 in its current form, leave the integrity of AB 3121 intact. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Our next speaker.
Good morning, Chair Moore, Vice Chair Brown, Task Force members. My name is Marcus Champion. I'm a California native born and raised in Inglewood, currently residing in South Central Los Angeles. I'm a board member for the Coalition for a Just and Equitable California and a founding member of the National Assembly of American Slavery Descendants Los Angeles, NAASDLA. Today is the beginning of the second phase of this reparations process, and I would like to extend my thanks to the task force for their historic work thus far. I also want to again recognize and celebrate Chair Moore, Vice Chair Brown, and members Bradford, Montgomery Stepp, and Scott Lewis for voting to make the standard of eligibility lineage-based as opposed to race-based. As we move into this final proposal phase, I want to implore the task force to maintain the same boldness and see no limits when it comes to crafting the necessary proposals that will lead to transformative justice for the African-American descendants of persons enslaved in the United States who reside in California. I also want to reiterate that among the numerous policy remedies and legislation that must be crafted, that direct cash payments to the eligible recipients be the first priority. Finally, I want to express my vehement opposition to AB 2296. This legislation was not asked for by the public or members of the task force, nor were they even made aware, which speaks to the unethical spirit of the bill. Member Jones Sawyer made sure he kept AB 2296 in the shadows as much as possible while moving it through the California legislature, only making one public comment prior to a couple of weeks ago. And his reasoning was to keep the task force together to educate the public, which makes no sense because your operation would still be restricted by the Bagley-Keene statute. Under the cover of more darkness, Member Jones Sawyer added an amendment that allows for members to be removed by their appointing body. Allowing members to be removed 15 months into this 24-month process makes this commission vulnerable to special interests in politics and ultimately threatens the credibility of the whole process. Considering as goes California, so goes the nation, this means potentially deeper ramifications for federal reparations. To quote Member Jones Sawyer, this allows for problematic members to be removed. Despite philosophical disagreements, this process has been excellent thus far, and the only member who has acted in a problematic manner has been Member Jones Sawyer when he threw an unprofessional tantrum and attempted to bully Chair Moore because he did not get his way when it came to the eligibility vote during the March hearing. If this law is signed by Governor Newsom, Assemblymember Reggie Jones Sawyer is the problematic member who should be removed because we must respect the legislative intent of the author of AB 2296. To the rest of this body, continue to do good work and your community supports you. Thank you.
Hello, Tess. Oh, there we go. Okay, sir, thank you so much. But before you begin, we have two speakers who need an accommodation who will follow you. Thank you so much. You may begin.
Good morning. My name is Sarge Hall. I am a retired combat veteran. I'm the at-large rep for the Mid-City Neighborhood Council, as well as board member for the South Los Angeles Alliance of Neighborhood Councils, and I am a descendant of the Honorable Biddy Mason. I'm sending greetings from Georgia, which is Georgia and Florida, which is my roots. And I missed my tea time to come here, and I wasn't really expecting this. But I want to say that I have concerns about Black California. Before we even get to reparations, I believe that we need to have a forum called the State of Black California, with California only being 6.5% African American, and the majority of them in Los Angeles. In 20 years, maybe 5% Americans, and what left in California. What we cannot do is allow these reparations to serve as an exit strategy. Also, we cannot allow these reparations to be a boost to Governor Gavin Newsom, who is running ads in Florida. When I went to my property in Florida this year, I cut on the TV and I see him basically getting ready to run for presidency. So we cannot let these reparations go without us having a hand up in this situation if Gavin wants to run for president. And you know what I'm talking about, the behind the closed doors conversations. If he passes this, if we get these reparations passed, he can use this as a springboard. And what we cannot do, allow him to use us. With that being said, the money alone is not enough. I'm afraid that if you give checks to folks, the average person is going to go to the liquor store, they're going to go to the weed shop, and we're going to lose equity in our neighborhoods. Follow what I'm saying? Follow what I'm saying. Not everyone. Follow what I'm saying. When you follow what I'm saying, there needs to be some type of community equity-based option if you give a check to where a person can put into a system to help grow our communities. I'm on these boards and I'm riding around. Listen, Black Los Angeles is losing. I know y'all want to sit here and act like it's not happening, but in 20 years, there won't be any Black folks. So this money can serve as a positive or a negative. And I'm praying that it serves as a positive, but there must be parameters put around it. Last but not least, in the reparations package, I would like to see some type of satellite historically Black college brought out here to the West Coast. So again, Black California, pay attention. It's only 6.5% of us. We can be easily gentrified. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Now that I have your attention, I am Emeritus Professor Joyce Faye Allen Hamilton, and my sister, Emeritus Professor Janelle Allen. My sister has been a professor at Compton College for 38 and a half years. Because we combined our thoughts, we decided that one of us would speak. And since I'm the baby girl, I was chosen. You know how that is. Is that okay with the task force? I've been waiting for over 30 years to have this conversation about reparation. So I'm very passionate about this. So if you can be with me, be passionate about what I'm saying. We were born and reared in Los Angeles, California. The sisters bring greetings to all task force members, committee members, distinguished guests, and to the audience. I have taught at many colleges and ended my professorship at Los Angeles City College with a combination of teaching for 35 years. My mother always stated, quote, always try to be the best or next to the best or among the best, unquote. She died at the age of 97 last year, July 15, 2021. I received an award for the first Black Teacher of the Year at Los Angeles City College. I want to be an inspiration to you. It is a privilege and an honor to speak before this task force this morning. I want to honor you and applaud you for countless and tireless days, hours, and minutes that you've spent on this task force. This is not an easy job, but you were born to do this. God has chosen you to help create the blueprint for reparation. Reparation is a check owed to Black Americans for the enslavement of ancestors that must not bounce, but must be cashed upon receiving it. This will be marked in the history books as to what you've done for Black Americans. My sister and I want to encourage you to keep working assiduously. Whatever the mind can conceive, the mind can achieve.